I'm Chris, you're watching FRAG-MENTAL. In this video, I'm taking a look at the brand new line of fragrances from the house of Argos. Stay tuned to FM. You may or may not have heard of Argos, and if you're based in the UK, I am not talking about the famous high street store that we have. You will not find these fragrances in those catalogues, that's for sure. So Argos have been around for a couple of years. They initially came out with a Pour Homme and a Pour Femme fragrance, and they got quite a lot of positive buzz from what I saw on YouTube and Instagram, so people really like them. Now Argos have come out with 3 brand new fragrances, and I'm going to cover those for you in this video. The one that I have a full bottle of is called Triumph of Bacchus, so that's the one I'm going to be focusing the majority of my attention on in this video, but I will also touch on the other 2 fragrances at the end of the video as well. So let's start off by looking at Triumph of Bacchus's stunning presentation and the notes. This has got to be one of the best looking bottles that I now have in my collection. If you're thinking it looks cheap or gimmicky, it certainly does not feel it when you hold it in your hands. It's very weighty, thick glass, metal cap. The plate on the front here is metal, not plastic. It just speaks niche quality through and through. This is a seriously nice presentation. It's always a nice touch when a good looking bottle comes in a high quality box. So this is the box for Triumph of Bacchus, and all the ones in this new line of fragrances will come in a box like this. So really sturdy quality. It's textured almost like a white kind of leather appearance to this, or maybe it's marble. And this opens from a flap on the side, which is magnetic. You have a description of the fragrance in here, you have all the notes, and the bottle is just sitting nice and snug in the box there. The notes are saffron, white peach, green apple, rum, patchouli, jasmine, tonka bean, vetiver, tobacco, amber, sandalwood, vanilla and musk. When you first spray this fragrance, you get a beautiful, almost I'd describe it as regal saffron, and that is paired with the fruit notes here, so the apple and the white peach. And I wouldn't say that the peach is overly peachy or the apple overly appley. It's just a nice kind of blended fruity accord that goes really nicely with the saffron. So it's a very pleasant, very diffusive opening actually. It does project quite a lot when you first spray this. Tying the rest of these opening notes together is a lovely rum accord. So it has a booziness to it, but it's not overly boozy. It's certainly not a thick and heavy booziness. It's quite delicately done, but it's just adding this extra little bit of complexity to the opening, which I really like. Underneath these top notes, when you smell this straight away, you notice that this fragrance has a lot of backbone to it. It's a strong, structured fragrance. Could be the patchouli, could be the tobacco, or maybe it's a combination of both of them. And as it starts to dry down, the kind of brighter top notes just fade away slightly and the woods come out. And I would say that it's difficult to pick out individual notes here. It does become woodier, but you don't really pick out specifically the jasmine or the vetiver or the vanilla. Even the tobacco is not overly dominant. I wouldn't describe this as a tobacco fragrance, because even though you do get this slight cherry tobacco, it's not dominating the fragrance at all. It's kind of one high quality, smooth blend that's got sweetness, depth, it smells rich, it smells opulent, but despite all those things, it's not too heavy. This fragrance throughout its life is quite bright and uplifting actually. There are certain qualities in this fragrance that remind me of some of the characteristics of Tom Ford's Tobacco Oud. It doesn't smell the same as that fragrance, far from it. You wouldn't smell these next to each other and mistake one for the other. Absolutely not. But I think it's the combination of the tobacco, the amber, of the booziness that just makes me think of those aspects of Tobacco Oud that I really enjoy. I would say it's not as divisive as that fragrance. It definitely has more mass appeal. When you smell this, you do get the sense that it's been delicately and thoughtfully put together by an expert hand with a real lightness of touch, which adds refinement and class. In fact, Christian, who is the owner of the brand, Argos, told me that it took him 3 years to get this fragrance right. So a lot of time and effort and energy dedicated to getting the juice right inside this bottle. I think this is quite a difficult one to, on camera, describe to you exactly how it smells, because it doesn't smell that similar to any other fragrances. Yes, it has some characteristics that remind me of other fragrances, but that doesn't really give you a sense of how it smells. This might help, certainly for the UK viewers. If you know the sweets or the candy, Bassett's, licorice all sorts, it reminds me of that in a really good way. So if you would open a bag of licorice all sorts and you get that smell, that sweet smell of the licorice and the sugar in there, kind of reminds me of that a little bit, but obviously in a much more sophisticated and classy way. But that maybe gives you a little bit of an idea of the profile of this scent. Throw in a little bit of booziness and tobacco and maybe you get in some idea about what this smells like. I just think this is really smooth, classy stuff. I'm really pleased to have this in my collection because it's right up my street. I think I'm going to be wearing this one a lot. Just ticks a lot of the boxes that I need ticking when it comes to fragrance. Let's talk about some of those other boxes. The performance is fantastic. You're going to get a big projection off this. It's going to project out 2 meters or around 6 feet. So perfect in these times of social distancing that we're having to practice. But it's never obnoxious. It's projecting in a really good way. Longevity also fantastic. You're going to get around 10 hours plus. So the projection will last for around 3 to 4 hours. So quite a long time for projection. It's pinging off the skin all that time. It's got this lovely pop to it. And then, yeah, you're going to get 10 hours plus, longer than that if you spray this on your clothes as well. It's a fairly versatile fragrance. As I mentioned, it's not so basic and not so thick and heavy and complex, so you can pretty much wear it all year round. It may be a little bit too much for really hot summer days, but other than that, I think I could certainly here in the UK get away with wearing this whenever I want to. In terms of occasions, again, it has a versatility to it, but I think it would excel dressed up sharp in a suit, so for some kind of formal occasion. Actually, I also think it would work really well as a date night scent. It has lovely kind of sweet, pleasing, sensual quality, so if you're in close proximity to someone else, I think it would work. I did mention that it projects a lot, but I don't think, even if someone is really up close, I don't think that's ever going to get annoying at all. So formal occasion scent or a date night scent.
Join the Scent Geeks every Monday as we podcast about all things fragrance. You'll find us anywhere you can usually find a podcast. Links are in the description below this video. See you there, geeks.
Let's talk about the price. This is selling on Argos's website for $225. You are going to get 100 ml for that. That equates to around £193. If you order from their website a full bottle, they will ship free worldwide. So you can order this and not pay shipping wherever you are in the world. If you do want to order one of these, then I will leave a link in the description below the video. Click through that link and also make sure to use my code FRAG-MENTAL10. That is going to give you a further 10% off your order. Okay, so in this video I've primarily focused on Triumph of Bacchus because I had the bottle, but I can not end this video without mentioning the other 2 fragrances in the line, which I also love. So this one is called Bacio Immortale, which means immortal kiss. Notes in this one are bergamot, lemon, pepper, raspberry, violet, jasmine, leather, pink peppercorn, musk, leather, oud, birch and vanilla. You smell this, you are instantly going to be reminded of Tom Ford's Tuscan leather. It's that DNA, but it's different. It's doing its own thing. I think it's a little fruitier than Tuscan leather. I think the raspberry comes through more prominently. It's definitely sweeter as well than Tuscan leather, and I think it's more mass appealing, so it's not quite as heavy, it's not quite as complex. So if you find Tuscan leather a little bit too leathery, a little bit too complex, it can be a divisive fragrance. And for those of you who find that Tuscan leather doesn't appeal to the ladies in your life, I know that's a common thing that us guys say, me included unfortunately, that I think this will combat that problem. I think it has enough sweetness and enough mass appeal to be enjoyed by the fairer sex. I'm a big fan of Tuscan leather, so anything that is based on a similar DNA, I'm a big fan, so I love that one. Now the last one I want to mention, I'm going to say it's my favourite of all 3. I adore this one. It's called Bravido della Caccia. It means thrill of the chase. Some of the notes in it are pink pepper, clary sage, juniper, iris, tonka bean, leather, birch oil and amber. I really like the other two, but I am massively in love with this one. It's got this carnal, animalistic nature to it. There's some florals in here, and the leather and the birch oil just take this to another level. It is really beautiful stuff. I think this is sexy and masculine and full of mass appeal. It smells different to me to other things that I've smelled. Maybe it does smell, I'm sure it does smell similar to other things, but certainly from what I've smelled, this seems to be quite unique. It just works off my skin so well. It has a complexity, but it's not a divisive fragrance. I think it has the mass appeal like all the fragrances do in this line. It projects, it lasts, it's got a real punch to it. I'm really enjoying this one. And I think that for me, this new line of fragrances from Argos seems to balance this luxury, niche, very expensive smell with mass appeal. So they have complexity. They're very pleasing if you're into niche fragrances. They're very pleasing for you to wear, but they do have this mass appeal. I know I keep mentioning mass appeal, but I do want to drive home to you that I think these will really be enjoyed by those around you. These three fragrances are quite a departure from the original Argos Pour Homme fragrance, which was a fresher, more classically masculine type of fragrance. It was very lovely, but these are a little darker, a little richer, a little more complex. So as much as I enjoyed their original release, these are definitely more up my street. I think they've done a fantastic job. If you want to try any of these, they do samples on their website. Again, follow the link in the description and use my code FRAG-MENTAL10. I think their sample set is $35, so really do suggest that you at least sample these. And don't forget, if you do order a full bottle, you are going to get free international shipping. So you could try the sample set, and then if there's one that you really like, then you know you've always got the option to go for the full bottle. So I think Argos have really given us some beautiful fragrances here. I'd heard of Argos and I enjoyed their original release, but now with these fragrances, with this new line, they are well and truly on the map. All right, so I hope you enjoyed my take on these fragrances. I would love to hear from you. Have you tried any of these? Let me know what you think. I can't think that there's many people who don't like these. Yes, you are going to be paying for the quality. Perhaps some people may think the price is out of their range, and that's, you know, that's up to the individual. Some people will think it represents value, some people will think it's a little bit out of their price range, so that's really up to you to decide. But all I can tell you is that I think they're great and I'm really impressed. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you found it useful. Thank you very much for watching. Keep tuning into FM, keep smelling good, and remember, whatever you're doing in life, let's project.